There's a strange kind of power in being believed dead. When the world thinks you no longer exist, you get to see people's true faces, their unfiltered selves. And in that raw, unguarded truth, you discover who they really are. My name is Chloe, and by the time the sun rose that morning, I was no longer the same woman who had run terrified through the night. Something inside me had shifted. The fear was still there, sharp, electric, alive, but beneath it burned something stronger: determination. Sarah and Michael thought they had won. They believed I was gone, out of their way forever. That belief was going to be my greatest weapon. After escaping through the garden, I made my way to a small, remote cabin I'd visited once with a friend years ago. The place was abandoned, hidden deep in the woods, and perfect for staying out of sight while I planned my next move. I locked the door, set my phone to silent, and sat at the dusty wooden table, my mind racing through everything that had happened. Their words, their expressions, the chilling way Sarah had said, "Tomorrow night, Chloe will be gone for good." I replayed the memories like puzzle pieces, and slowly a picture began to form. This wasn't just about money or jealousy. It was about control, about power. They wanted not just my estate, but my entire identity erased. The first thing I needed was information, solid proof of their scheme. Without it, the police would dismiss me as paranoid or delusional. So I began my investigation carefully, methodically. On the second day of my disappearance, I disguised myself in a hooded jacket and oversized sunglasses and made my way back toward town. I stayed to the back streets, keeping my head low. The city felt different now, harsher, colder, as if it somehow knew the secret I carried. At the corner cafe, I slipped into a seat near the window, my back to the wall. From there, I had a perfect view of the street outside, and of Sarah's favorite boutique across the road. Sure enough, less than an hour later, Sarah strolled out of the boutique with several shopping bags, laughing into her phone. Her voice carried just enough for me to catch her words. "Yes, Michael, everything's perfect," she said smoothly. "Once the estate is officially transferred, we'll finally have the freedom we deserve." My hands curled into fists beneath the table. Freedom. That's what she called destroying me? I gritted my teeth and forced myself to stay calm. I couldn't confront her yet. Not here, not now. Over the next few days, I shadowed them from a distance, documenting their every move. Each time they made a suspicious purchase or visit, I snapped a photo. Each time they met in secret, I recorded snippets of their conversations with my hidden microphone. I saw them meet with a lawyer, saw them whispering over documents that bore my name, and slowly my file of evidence grew thicker and thicker. But watching them live freely while I hid like a ghost was harder than I anticipated. Sometimes I'd catch Michael laughing at a joke in a cafe, or see Sarah sipping wine on the balcony of my own house, and the rage inside me would flare white hot. This was my life they were living, my home, my legacy, and they had stolen it from me without remorse. One evening, I tailed Michael to a storage unit on the outskirts of town. From my hiding place behind a stack of crates, I watched as he unlocked the metal door and stepped inside. When he left 15 minutes later, carrying a heavy-looking briefcase, I slipped quietly into the unit. The sight that greeted me nearly brought me to my knees. Stacks of my personal belongings were piled high: photo albums, business documents, even heirlooms from my parents. It was like a museum of my life, carefully packed away as if I never existed. In the corner sat a large metal box. When I pried it open, I found my will and estate papers, all altered to favor Sarah and Michael. The signatures looked eerily like my own, but I had never signed them. My pulse raced as I photographed every document, making sure to capture every forged signature, every false clause. This was the proof I needed: cold, undeniable evidence. For the next few days, I worked with a trusted friend, Emma. She was the only person I dared to let in on my secret. When I first appeared at her door, disheveled and trembling, she nearly screamed. "Chloe," she gasped, pulling me inside. "Oh my goodness, I thought you were—" Her voice caught and she couldn't finish the sentence. "I know," I said, my own voice shaking. "That's what they wanted everyone to think." Emma stared at me, wide-eyed. "Chloe, you have to go to the police." "I will," I promised, "but not yet. If I go now, Sarah and Michael will just deny everything. I need them to incriminate themselves, publicly." Emma hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Okay, whatever you need, I'm here." With her help, I organized all my evidence, storing copies in multiple safe locations. We even arranged for a small team of officers, trusted ones, to be ready when the time came. Meanwhile, Sarah and Michael were growing bolder. Believing I was out of the picture, they began openly discussing their plans in public. At a local restaurant, I sat 2 tables away, my head down, listening to them toast to their new beginning. "To Chloe," Sarah said with a smirk, clinking her glass against Michael's. "May she rest peacefully, wherever she is." They both laughed, and my stomach churned at the sound. Soon, I told myself, soon they would pay. The announcement came 2 weeks later. Sarah and Michael were holding a memorial service for me. When Emma read the announcement, my breath caught. They're holding your funeral," she said softly. "They really think you're gone." A slow, cold smile spread across my face. "Perfect," I murmured. "Let them gather everyone who ever mattered to me in one place. Let them speak their lies. And then, let me walk in." Emma's eyes widened. "Chloe, are you sure about this?" "I'm sure," I said firmly. "It's time to end this." The night before the service, I couldn't sleep. I stood by the window of the cabin, watching the moonlight dance across the trees. My reflection in the glass looked like a stranger, tired, haunted, but stronger than ever before. Tomorrow, it would all be over. The morning of the funeral dawned gray and cold. I dressed carefully in dark, simple clothes, pulling my hood low over my face. Emma hugged me tightly before we left. "Be careful," she whispered. "They'll be shocked, but they'll also be dangerous." "I know," I replied. "That's why the police will be waiting nearby." As we approached the church, I saw cars lined up along the street, people streaming inside, their faces somber and tear-streaked. My heart ached when I recognized old friends, business partners, even neighbors, They were all here to mourn me, to mourn a lie. Through the open doors, I could hear Sarah's voice, smooth and mournful. Chloe was such a bright light. She was taken from us far too soon. My hands clenched into fists. Michael's voice followed, thick with fake emotion. We'll miss her dearly, but now we must carry on her legacy, just as she would have wanted. Rage surged through me like fire. How dare they? How dare they stand there speaking of me as though I were gone, while plotting to erase me completely? I took a deep breath, straightened my shoulders, and stepped up to the heavy wooden doors. This was it. The moment everything would change. Inside, Sarah and Michael's victory celebration was about to turn into their worst nightmare. I placed my hand on the door handle, and with a final steadying breath, I pushed it open. Gasps echoed through the church as Chloe walks in, very much alive. Sarah and Michael freeze, their faces drained of color. The truth is about to come out, and there will be no escape.